Good evening. We'll start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome. We'll go ahead and call to order, and we'll go around the room tonight.
Sarah Darting.
Christy Van Meter.
Sheila Magers.
Erica Price.
Sarah Sanders.
Rocky Buznitz.
Christina Flaming.
Tiffany Kinch.
Rebecca Hummer.
Matt Hirsch. Micah Stiegel.
Austin Dinger.
Shane Hilton.
All right, welcome. We'll go ahead and, well, we did roll call, sorry about that. We didn't move on to approval of the agenda. We need a motion. Motion by Christy,
Second.
second by Rocky, all in favor? 5-0. We'll move on to approval of the minutes of the October 20th, 2025 regular meeting. Need a motion?
So, second.
Motion by Christina, second by Sarah, all in favor? 5-0. We'll move on to communications. We'll start with the status of the district. Mr. Hirsch. Do you want to skip you? Are you ready? Okay.
I was going to give you a little information. One of our board goals is working with teacher retention. We have a couple programs I think have really been beneficial to us. One that we had was our tuition incentive we give to teachers when working on their first master's. This year, we had 12 teachers accumulate 156 credits. That was last year, 156 credits. We paid out over $30,000 to those teachers for earning that. So that's a great incentive. So there's 12 people working on that first master's, and we have more coming for next year. Just gives them a little bit of help in getting through that. The other one that I think helps a lot is our sick leave pool that we have for teachers. We had an enrollment year this year. We don't enroll every year. We only enroll when the number gets too low. But we had 228 teachers out of 306 enroll in our sick leave pool. That's about a 75% participation rate. What that gives them is 10 days from the pool, but it also has what we call a catastrophic clause. So if you have a condition that keeps you off of work for long periods of time, you can apply for up to 60 more days, and then there's even a piece in there that could come to you as a board and give them another 30 days. So it's almost like kind of a short-term disability policy that you guys are giving them for that, and so they could get up to 100 days off. And then, what some people don't even realize is after you are totally out of those days, and you start getting docked pay, for the first 30 days after that, we only dock you sub-pay. So we have a lot of incentives in there for employees that are in some serious health conditions and things like that, that you guys are supporting them. So I think those are both two good programs that it's hard to get people to know about those until they need them sometimes, but they're very worthwhile for them. If you have any questions? Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Darting?
Good evening, Board. I've got 5 items tonight. The first is the financial audit with BT&Co. So it's typically the first of our audits that kicks off the summer following the close of the audit year. So back in July, we provided the engagement letter. It was signed by the superintendent. It outlines the scope and the terms. They completed their testing of activity funds in July while school was out, and then they completed their on-site testing for the remaining funds last month. They'll be here probably in December, but we don't have a final date. So when we get one, we'll make sure that we inform you all. We had the principal's buildings reports and the superintendent's organizational report due on October 10th. Statute governs how students are counted in Kansas schools. That record is captured on official student count day, which is around September 20th, that we reported to you all during the budget report and the budget presentation. School staff work very hard every year to upload all of the enrollment records and data that impacts demographics of students into the district student information system, which is PowerSchool. And then that data is imported into the KIDS system, which is a state system that stands for Kansas Individual Data on Students. This data is reviewed and confirmed by principals in the PBR. So that's how those two reports come together. PBR is the Principals Buildings Reports. When they confirm the enrollment, this data is used to populate the superintendent's organizational report with other district data that's compiled at the central office, most of it by me. Then this data is eventually evaluated by the state in their annual audit of current year enrollment information, and that shapes the district's current year budget and does impact future budgets as well. Which leads to the third item, which is our state audit, which is pretty much a reconciliation of various counts and weightings that we report to the state in the KIDS system every year. It's performed by the State Department on Education. Their field work includes reviewing all the supporting documentation for that enrollment that's been submitted. There are minimum expenditure requirements from the prior year that auditors review as well. They perform at least some of their testing remotely, more and more of it lately they're performing remotely, but then they come on site and they look at documents, ask questions, get clarity, and they do all of that before providing their final report. We'll be requesting supporting documentation from the schools this month. It's requested by the state ahead of their arrival at least 3 weeks, and so I'd like to take a moment to thank all the principals and some assistant principals that are involved in the reporting and audit efforts that we have each year, along with their office staff, counselors, student data coordinator, Katie Davis, and the central office team. Working together, we ensure that our data is accurate and that our audits are efficient. The state's schedule for the audit in the past few years have shifted a little bit, but this year they plan to be on site in January again as they were last year, specifically the week of the 19th. Fourth item is just some additional audits that they've completed, a few smaller ones, the school term audit, SPED audit, motorcycle training program, and then prior year adult virtual credits were audited as well, and all of those audits went well, no surprises there. The last item is reporting for the Every Student Succeed Act. The law is designed to ensure that all students have a significant opportunity to a fair, equitable, and high-quality education, and that as a district, we're closing educational achievement gaps for students. So included in the law is a requirement that each state report card includes a per pupil breakdown of total current federal, state, and local expenditures for each school within every local education agency or district in Kansas. So this requires us to allocate dollars to students based on a variety of different metrics every year. So we submitted this report for the district and each school back in mid-October. So that is all I have. This is, when we say our audit and reporting season, this is what we talk about. The first part of the year, this is what our office and the business office is doing. So do you have any questions about any of that? All right, thanks.
Thank you. We'll move on to Ms. Hummer.
Good evening. I am actually here reporting on behalf of both your elementary and secondary curriculum directors, as Mrs. Bell couldn't be here this evening. We just have 4 things to share with you. One, Mrs. Bell and I have been working with our curriculum review teams and have attended at least 1 session with each group for science, health, and PE. All groups have unpacked their standards, and many are ready to begin bidding resources to ensure we have high-quality instructional materials for students and staff. Mrs. Bell was a part of our high school pre-ACT and work keys sessions that were held in October. Freshmen completed the pre-ACT 8-9, sophomores completed the pre-ACT, and juniors completed the ACT work keys. Last Wednesday, Mrs. Meggers and I were a part of our Early Childhood Block Grant annual evaluation for the 24-25 school year. And as you recall, that grant helps us offset the cost of our full-day program in each of our elementary buildings through staff salaries, staff benefits, monthly family literacy books, classroom equipment, and resources for math and literacy, as well as our summer pre-K programs. So some key highlights for you from that review included that our district served more students at the developmental and social emotional risk than our early childhood block grant average. We served 57% as compared to their range of 49%. The percentage of children on track for numeracy with USD 450 increased from 55% to 83% across the year, and this was above the early childhood block grant state average of 73 in the spring. Research has shown that pre-numeracy skills at kindergarten entry level were a better predictor of academic achievement than literacy, attentional skills, and social behavior. So that was a good thing for us to hear during that report. And last but not least, the percentage of USD 450 children on track in language comprehension increased from fall to spring, but there was no change in the phonological awareness piece. So that we recognize that phonological awareness is a significant, it has a positive impact on language, spelling, and literacy. But that will continue to be a focus for us during this school year in our pre-K classrooms because we want to set that great foundation for kindergarten and beyond. And last but not least, in alignment with board goal number 6, engaging the entire family unit as active participants in our learning, we are working hard to communicate student learning progress with clarity and timeliness this year. Elementary teachers have been diving deep into reviewing standards-based grading practices and utilizing our Power Teacher Pro platform to enter student grades and progress each week. Our goal is to ensure that our parents know how students are doing, even between quarterly summary reports, so that historical progress is saved for each student. And with the hard work of Katie Davis, we now have a clear path of grades linked to state standards that feed to those quarterly summary reports. In front of you are a couple of examples of our revised summary reports, and I felt like I needed to copy these and give these to you because if you're not a parent, you likely haven't seen this improvement. So revisions were made to this current progress report in the areas of language arts and math. Based on the curriculum committee's work the last 2 school years. So there's clear links between the success criteria, the I can statements that were on our district-approved ELA and math maps. So one of those examples is a first grade example, and it is not completed. It's just a blank summary report. But the second example is a 6th grade example. And I just happen to know a 6th grader in the district, even though her information has been redacted. That would be my daughter. So you can at least see what it looks like from a parent perspective of we now have graphics to go along with it to show student progress. Even some color coding going on, but we want to make sure you will see it's a more lengthy document than we have had in the past. But we are really aiming for giving parents clear information on what our kids can and can't do so that we can continue to partner together to help our students progress throughout the school year. Secondary summary reports also had some minor adjustments. They now include some information about chronic absenteeism for parents, so they had a little facelift and a little more information added to them as well. I just want to say kudos to our classroom teachers because this has been hard work during this transition, and they've really been committed to the process. Although parents have access to and currently can see those weekly grades that we're putting in Power School, our focus this school year has really been working with teachers and perfecting our use of this communication tool. So we can heavily focus on engaging our parents into the learning and how to use Power School at the elementary levels next school year. But I wanted to take a moment to put these in front of you to answer any questions that you may have or provide some clarifications.
Does anybody have questions?
I just want to say I was delighted that my son's teacher specifically cited her letters training and then pointed out some of the things she was doing with him during
Nice.
parent-teacher conferences. So I wanted to share that it is getting used in classroom conversations with parents.
Thank you for letting me know that. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kinch?
Good evening. Well, since the beginning of the school year, a lot of my work has focused on two major priorities. Communication around the bond and preparing for the district-wide rollout of Parent Square. So along with several other projects that keep families and staff informed and connected, but we'll start with the bond. We launched a comprehensive public information campaign ahead of tomorrow's election. I worked to create short, easy-to-understand videos that overviewed each of our building's bond highlights. These were shared through our website, newsletters, social media, and flyers. I also created things like flyers, sent multiple messages out to families reminding them about our town hall meetings, which gave families the chance to come learn more and ask questions. I managed the bond info webpage, coordinated our district mailer, and oversaw social media advertising to help increase reach and awareness to the part of the community that we do not have direct contact information for. So moving to Parent Square, our new unified communication platform officially launches on December 1st. So over the past months, I've worked with staff across all of the buildings to prepare for the transition, distributing training guides, how-to videos, and offered several in-person trainings for our staff to get familiar with that tool. I've started making families aware of the transition to Parent Square by including information in our most recent newsletter. I also sent out a separate email to parents along with more information that went out on how they can get more familiar with the tool with the invite email that went out. So more information will continue to go out to families as we approach that December 1st goal. And really the goal is to have one central place for all communication, whether it's coming from athletics, the classroom teacher, a building, or the district. It will take time to fully transition everyone to one tool, but once in place, families will have a consistent and a reliable way to receive information in one spot. So I've continued, other than those two big projects, I've continued our regular communication and events as well, including a beginning of the year and first quarter district newsletter, weekly staff newsletters. I started a bi-weekly high school newsletter and coverage and planning of the foundation's prize parade and breakfast. So overall, it's been pretty busy at the beginning of this year, but we're excited. So are there any questions? Yes.
Is there a place in this for a comprehensive calendar? I was looking for some events, and I had to look at several different calendars. And I know it's hard to put everything like in one centralized location,
Yeah.
but
So one of the features of Parent Square is that each, I'm going to call them group or classes, has their own calendar, which only shows up on the parents' calendar if they are involved in that group or class. So it's kind of a hierarchy. So the district has the calendar, so everyone's going to belong to the district calendar. And then the school will have a calendar. So if that parent or their student belongs to that school, those things will come up on their calendar. Along with, let's say, they're part of the basketball team. So the basketball team will have their own calendar. And so that basketball, those events will show up on those calendars, that parent's calendar as well, as long as they belong to that class or group. And then parents can put those events on their personal calendar by a click of a button if they wish, or they can just look at the calendar. It does get busy, I will tell you that. But there are ways for all of the things to be organized into the class or group when they're looking at their calendar. So Parent Square is a secure platform for communication, which means we wouldn't be communicating to anyone who does not have,
Kids.
right.
Okay.
So custody, right, or however we determine that that is okay for us to communicate. So actually, grandparents probably wouldn't have access to Parent Square, but we'll keep our calendars up on our websites so that community members and those public events are still viewable.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question?
Right. Thank you, I appreciate it. We'll move on to Mr. Stiegel.
Good evening. Just a snapshot of kind of what we're doing here with facilities and transportation and all that stuff. The middle school band room HVAC was installed, and you guys had recently approved that. We have Tecumseh North is getting new basketball goals, and that's been delayed because the manufacturer had a delay. So, I would anticipate in the next couple weeks that will go in. Tomorrow, we're finally taking delivery of some playground equipment, which is replacement equipment. This is not related to the bond, but it's related to damaged equipment that the kids just can't use anymore. So we should have that up and running by the end of the week, I hope. We built a safety fence over at Barryton for Mrs. O'Brien, and it turned out great. So I think maybe they're thinking about putting some of those in other places where it's needed, but that was, Barryton's real happy with that, and it went well. The high school choir room had new sound panels installed. That was part of the capital outlay project, and we finished that up. I'm currently doing a light audit. We've had a lot of lights that don't work in the district, whether that be in the building or outside of the building. So I have those numbers in, and we are currently working on ordering all those replacement lights, which are under warranty. So I think we should have that order completed by December 8th. And once we have that, we'll start working on putting those in. Happy to report that we have some new transportation staff coming in. Jory and Jafon are retiring. So we have a new administrative specialist in-house. She's been great so far. And I hope to have a new transportation coordinator very soon. The Barryton roof project, to give you an update on that, we were really hoping to finish that up over the October 20th break that we had. Of course, it rained heavily during that whole break, so we're really shooting for Thanksgiving break. That's our next window. The last section of this roof project is pretty invasive, so it has to be done at a time when that part of the building is not heavily used. It involves disconnecting a bunch of gas lines and things like that. So hopefully, after Thanksgiving break, we can put that behind us. And just one update on the empty plot of land that we have behind the high school. I know that it used to be farmed. It's not farmed anymore. We have located a local farmer who is going to take that over, and he's going to start farming that again. You all have any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Nope, thank you for answering all of those. I think most of those were mine.
Okay.
Mr. Dinger.
Good evening. Just a couple of things. One of the board goals talks about the safety and security of all the people that are here. And looking at that, Jacob Leakey has kind of transitioned into a security position in the district now. He's actually, I think, just finished his third certification at this point. He's working on his fourth. So we're trying to put him through some classes on some stuff. With security changing all the time, it's just a benefit for having him here. You guys also heard a couple different times people mention Katie Davis's name tonight. Katie is now officially Canvas certified for the school district. So as far as I know, I think she's the first fully certified Canvas specialist that we've had in the district. So she's here to support our staff, our students, our parents on anything that she can in the way of Canvas to help out with that. We have one of our technicians is actually working on the Apple Certified Technician Program. So he'll get certified to be able to repair Apple products. That will bring revenue back into the district. As we repair devices, Apple will actually pay us to repair our own devices. So it's a way for the district to bring some money back in for Apple products. The other thing I have for you guys is just an update on the district WAN project that we have going on. Next week, we start our building walkthroughs with them, talking about where the pipes are going to come in and out of the building at and where all that's going to work. The plan as it stands right now is by mid-December to have all of the planning phase and everything completed by the mid-December. Once that's done, permitting will get started with a complete project completion date of June of 2026. So we'll start next year on that. Keep in mind, this program not only will save the district money, but also in the end will also help to bring internet to our district patrons. So the company that's going in will also lay some extra fiber as they lay ours, so they'll bring fiber into the district as well. So it's just another way for the district to provide something for families, even if they're not on our network at that rate. So, any questions? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We're going to move on to comments and concerns from patrons. No? All right, we'll move on to action items. Business by consent. We need a motion. Motion by Rocky. Second by Christie. All in favor? 5-0. We'll move on to approve Shawnee County's One United Voice. Ms. Meggers.
Okay. In Shawnee County, elected officials allow us to come and visit with them at the State House. This year, we're doing that December 8th. And we all meet together as districts, and we talk about what things are important and what we have in common as far as legislative items. And the 5 topics we agreed on this year are the same ones that we brought last year. They were all still relevant and important to every district across Shawnee County. And so that's the document that you're approving. What do we do with this? We actually print these off and take these in and give these to legislators when we meet with them. We don't do a lot else with them, but they're a great talking point when we meet with them. I think the most important thing is that on the back, they have all of our names and contact information, and we really encourage them when we meet with them to reach out as they're going through the legislative process, and if any questions come up, we want them to reach out and say, how does this impact you, or what are your thoughts? And so that's probably one of the biggest pieces of this. So the same 5 items are on there. We would recommend approval again.
All right, any questions? Need a motion to approve? Motion by Christie,
I'll second.
second by Rocky. All in favor? 4. Those abstain, or
Abstain.
abstain? Okay. 1 abstention. All right, we will move on to discussion items. Superintendent's report, Ms. Meggers.
Highlight of last week was all the Halloween activities that went on. Friday, all of the elementary schools had parades. Halls were packed, gymnasiums were packed. It was fun to see the parades. I think we, central office split up and we all, we couldn't hit all of them, each of us, because they're all similar time frames, but between us, we hit every building. Just fun to see the kids. They're having a great time. The parents that turn out, it's pretty amazing. So that was at the elementary level. At the middle school level, they brought they did for the first time a costume contest, and Tiffany was able to go over and photograph that. And that was a fun middle school activity event. And so they got up on stage and talked about what they were, and it was just a neat opportunity. And then the teachers were judges. So they had, I think middle schoolers had a lot of fun. And then the high school may have had other things, but the one I saw was the FFA trunk or treat in the middle school parking lot, and just happened to be out in that parking lot as that was getting going, and it was full house everywhere, so lots of little folks dressed up. So it was a fun week. This week, well, we also held our last town hall meeting last week, but this week we have election day tomorrow. So we just want to encourage everybody to get out and vote. As soon as we know when we have final results, we'll get something out to the board, to parents, to staff. So we will watch that closely, and once we know things are finalized, we will let you know. And then looking ahead, next week we have the KASB conference in Wichita. So I think we've got 3 of us going. And I was looking at the agenda, I don't know if you've looked yet. There are almost 50 sessions to choose from. Things like negotiations and legal obligations of the district, and legislative priorities and advocacy, and many, many others. So we'll give, we will have just come back from that when we meet again, so maybe we can share a few highlights. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to questions and comments from Board of Education members. Good.
I just wanted to explain why I abstained. I kind of struggle with bullet point number 1, taxpayer dollars for education should go only to public schools that are accountable to students, parents, and their communities. I don't know if any of you guys know that I had a son that I dealt with Mr. Hirsch at least one time where I had to pick him up for drug abuse here at school. He went through many things. He spent half of his life already on alcohol, fentanyl addiction, etc. The school couldn't fix this. I, as the parent, was the one responsible for him. We visited military schools and other options to try to find something that could try to protect him, maybe give him more structure. And so nothing that the school did could save my kid, and I was the one ultimately responsible till he was 18. I had the health insurance, I had the legal responsibilities when he got in trouble. And if I had had to pull my kid, and he ended up staying here and graduated here, but if I had ended up feeling I needed to pull him for his benefit, then I feel if we had the option that I would have wanted to pull the finances, because special schools are expensive, and if I needed that to keep my kid alive and tried to get him an education at the same time, I feel that I should have had that option. My son just graduated, he just celebrated on Thursday a year being clean, and I just wanted to say that that was through him, and some of his problems were here at school, and it was the legal system that made him stop doing what he was doing. But he's still alive. But if I had had to pull him, I would have wanted to do so. And so I have strong feelings that if parents do not feel like their kids are getting what they need, that they need to have the option to go and take them where they need to save their kid. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I just want to mention, get out and vote tomorrow. Get all day to do it. Your employers will let you do it, so please get out there and vote. Thank you to everyone who has educated the public to the best of all of our abilities so that they can make the best choice they can. And I appreciate all the work everybody's done on the bond. It's been big and a heavy lift, and we all greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much for that. We're going to move on to executive session. We'll need Ms. Meggers and Mr. Hirsch. I had this all ready to go even. 1 second. Oh, thank you. You're faster than I am. I move that we go into executive session to discuss an individual employee's performance pursuant to non-elected personnel exception under coma. That's not right, is it? Yeah, non-elected personnel exception under coma. And the open meeting will resume in the board meeting at, we want 15 minutes, so it'll be 7:50.
Second, oh,
Motion by Erica, second by
Sarah.
Sarah.
Oh.
All in favor? 5-0. Sorry. All right. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Christie, second by Sarah. All in favor? 5-0.